What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you a stupidly easy way to win with both Google and large language models. So contrary to what a lot of people are saying, e-commerce brands are still getting a lot of traffic from Google, and they're making a ton of money from organic search within traditional search engines, and it's way more than large language models. That being said, my clients are actually starting to pick up some meaningful traffic from large language models, and that's only been increasing every single month. My name is Tyler Nabak. I'm the founder of SEO Align. I've helped dozens of fashion brands improve their organic traffic and revenue with SEO. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can start bringing in more traffic from Google and large language models. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so real quick, this is probably not the best video if you have a relatively new store. This is going to be the most helpful and make the most sense for brands that have at least a little bit of traction and they're looking to really scale their traffic and revenue. So right now I'm on Lulu's site, and the reason I'm on their site is because they do this really, really well. So I'm just going to drop down their dresses category. So what you will see here is a whole lot of dresses, and this does not even scratch the surface of the number of pages they actually have. So they carry dresses, and instead of just having a dresses category page, they do have that. If you just click on all dresses, it'll take you to their all dresses page. But instead of just having that one category page, they have this broken down very, very specifically. So they have it by occasion, by style, by season, by color, length, fabric. They get very, very specific with what they offer. And that's not just, they're not doing that for fun. They're not doing that just for user experience. Well, I think it can provide a good user experience. This is 1000% an SEO play. And what's really kind of cool about it is this is an SEO play that obviously helps their traffic from Google, but this is something that's helping them with large language models too. So that's why I wanted to show you this, because it's pretty crazy and it's very, very easy to implement. You just have to know what you're doing and have some sort of strategy behind it. So the absolute first thing you need to do is look at, so in this case, if you have a dresses category page, you need to think of every single way that you can categorize your dresses. So this is just, like I said, this is a very big list, but this is not even their entire list. This is actually a pretty small percentage of their entire list. They just have what they believe to be the most important pages in the menu here. So you need to think about every possible way that you can categorize your dresses, because that's how people search, and people aren't just searching dresses when they're searching in Google. They're searching for something more specific. They might search midi dress. They might search black midi dress. They might get way more specific than that. And so you need to be thinking about how can you categorize these dresses so that you can show up for every single type of way that people search. Because if you just have that one dresses page and somebody searches for maxi dresses, mini dresses, you're not going to show up. You're just not, because Google doesn't understand that you have a relevant page. But we'll just take one example, halter dresses, for example. So they have a halter dresses page. I'm going to search halter dresses. I'm going to scroll down, and no surprise, Lulu's is number one for halter dress. Main reason is they have a page for it. Second main reason is they have quite a bit of authority to their site. So I don't want to ignore that, because that's a very important piece of this too. A big reason they're showing up is because they have a lot of authority. Same with Princess Polly. But this, you don't have to have the level of authority Lulu's does to do this strategy very, very well. So that's something that they're doing really well for Google. Most of these searches here, if you search these keywords, they're going to be showing up for. Second side of things I wanted to show you is basically having that page. So if you're able to do this, create this many category pages and just keep going as many as you can, because as many ways as you can categorize your dresses, and go beyond dresses, go every single category that you have, as many ways as you can categorize your products, it's giving you more opportunities in search. And the other cool thing about it is the more specific you get, the higher intent that search is. So if somebody is searching for a black midi dress and they land on your site, there's a much better chance they're going to actually convert and make a purchase than if somebody searches for dresses, because the person that's searching for black midi dresses, they know exactly what they want. And so when they land on their page, when they land on your page, they're seeing exactly what they're looking for, and they just have to pick out their favorite one. But when they search for dresses, they don't even know what they want yet. They haven't decided. They're just kind of browsing at that point. So if they land on your site, they're probably going to go to 10 other sites before they even figure out what they're looking for. That's why ranking for more specific keywords is so helpful because they just convert really, really well. So that's one side of things. That's a Google side, is because if you create these specific category pages, drop waist dresses, print and floral dresses, they're also going to be way less competitive. So it's going to be a lot easier to rank for those keywords. It's going to take a lot less work. So that brings me to the second point of ranking in large language models. So I'm going to open up ChatGPT and I search who carries the best halter dresses. And no surprise, Lulu's is right on this list. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll all the way down. Really important thing to look at in large language models is sources. So if you want to show up in large language models for who carries the best halter dresses, look at the sources. This tells you everything that you need to know. So basically what ChatGPT in this case is doing is they're showing you, these are all of the sources. This is how we determined what we're showing you. And what you'll notice is every single one of them, except for this top one, is just the e-commerce page. It's just the site itself. And when that happens, what that means is ChatGPT is essentially going to search engines and just pulling the results right from search engines, just like how anybody would do this if they were searching that in Google. And so what that tells me is the most important ranking factor in ChatGPT and other large language models is showing up well in search engines. And that's why Lulu's, they're the first source that was used here, is because they're showing up number one in Google when you search that. And the same thing with these other ones. So if you're showing up in search engines, you're going to have a really, really good chance of showing up in large language models. So there's definitely a carryover factor of doing a really good SEO is going to result in good visibility in large language models. So that's the most important piece to kind of take away from this, but taking this a bit further, now we know they didn't just use the e-commerce sites, they also used other sources. And you'll see when you do more searches and you really look at these sources, you're going to see that there's a lot of listicles and a lot of blog posts that are actually used as sources. So this example of Vogue has the 30 halter neck dresses that will summerify your look. And when you open that up and scroll down, you'll see Zara is mentioned, one of the top ones here. And that's why when you scroll down here, you see Zara. And you can even see it shows you right there why Zara is showing up here, is because it's featured in that article. So you kind of need to reverse engineer this and be like, hey, if we want to show up here, maybe we have a brand that we want to show up for this exact keyword and we're not right now. So number one, you need to rank in Google. So you need to figure out how exactly can we get ranked in Google. You need to have a very specific page targeting that keyword. You need to also make sure you're building enough internal links to give that page power, and then build some backlinks directly to that page as well. So really important factors there. That's the most important thing I would look at when it comes to large language models. But the second thing is I would be looking at these other sources that are listicles and blog posts, and I'd be thinking, is there any way that I can get into this article? This one, Vogue, probably not. It's a really big publication, obviously, and this was written in 2024. You can reach out. You can go and actually reach out to the person that wrote this, Christina Brutkowski. But chances are, I mean, this was written over a year ago. She might not even be writing for Vogue anymore. You getting included in this is not likely. But you can take this information and figure out other things that you can do that are similar to this. So can you get featured in this? Probably not. Can you get featured in future articles where they're talking about halter neck dresses? Maybe. You could reach out to publishers on well-known publications and actually pitch an article about the top halter neck dresses and see if that's something they want to write about. That's a route you could go. Another way is sometimes when you do these searches outside of, like, maybe it's not halter neck dresses, but it's something else, sometimes the listicle that's included here is not quite as big of a publication, and you can actually reach out and get featured. Usually they would require some sort of payment for that, but it's really, really valuable to be included in articles that are listed as a source on large language models. So that's another thing that you can do that's really helpful. Another thing you have full control over is you can do this yourself. You could write a listicle yourself. And so it could be something like the top 10 halter neck dresses. And just do a good job of doing a write-up that actually includes helpful information. What I would probably not do is just list your 10 products that you have. Include competitors in there. It's gonna make the article feel more natural for large language models, but it's also gonna be more helpful for users too. So, and that's only gonna help you. So that's something you have full control over. So they are using a listicle for this type of search. So you can go ahead and do a listicle on your own site. Here are the best 10 halter neck dresses. And there's a good chance in this case, like this is the only listicle that's used here. So there's a really good chance that if you have any amount of authority on your site, that ChatGPT would pick up your article as an actual source for this query. And the nice thing about that, when you are a source, you have a little bit of control over that narrative. So definitely when you're writing that listicle, you should have one of your dresses as number one, and that's going to influence what actually shows up in this main area. So just really important factor there. I wanted to mention that because if you're doing all of these things, if you're ranking in Google and you're getting featured in listicles that are at least the listicles that are showing up in the source section here, and actually creating listicles, you're going out there and trying to get featured in new listicles, you're going to give yourself a really, really good chance of showing up in large language models. And then you have a situation where you're dominating Google for halter dresses, you're dominating large language models for halter dresses, and basically people can't search for halter dresses and not find your site. So that's super valuable to be showing up absolutely everywhere. Another thing I wanted to show you is how to actually look at types of searches that people might be doing in large language models. Okay, so I'm going to head over to the Search Console here. And what I want to show you is I have this custom regex in here. I got this from Nathan Gotch. It's super helpful, custom regex, because what it does is it's showing you, we can't see data from ChatGPT. They just don't give it to us. But we can see is what people are searching in Google that models searches that people are doing in large language models. And so if I scroll down here, you can just see like these are really long queries that people are searching in Google, but these are the exact type of queries that people are also searching in large language models. And so I'm just going to scroll down here and look for one that would make a lot of sense. Let's see. Okay, so this one makes a lot of sense. So what is the best band for an Apple Watch Ultra 2? Okay, so this is a really good example. So this is something that is searched sometimes, at least in Google. So we can, based on that information, we can assume it's also searched in large language models. And that's what is the best band for Apple Watch Ultra 2. So this would be a really good opportunity for us to create a piece of content about this. So we could create a blog post about the best bands for Apple Watch Ultra 2s. And then what we do is we feature your own brand as number one for the best band for Apple Watch Ultra 2. And then what's happening is when people do searches for this type of query, you are not only being included as a source in large language models, but you're also positioning yourself as the brand to actually buy from. And so because you're featured as a source, ChatGPT is going to use that information when it actually displays the information to the user that's doing that search. So that's where you can really take this approach where you're showing up in Google and you're also controlling the narrative of how you're showing up in large language models too. So if you do all of these factors, if you create really, really specific collection pages, and you do really good internal linking, you build backlinks to those pages, you rank well in Google, you're going to give yourself a really good chance of showing up in large language models just from that. But you can take that a step farther and look at the sources, see if you can be included in any of the listicles. If you can't, create your own listicle, do a guest post on another site, create a listicle there. And then when you're featured in multiple listicles, there's a really good chance that those would get pulled in as sources when people do these types of searches in ChatGPT. Then on top of that, look at what people are already searching in Google that model what people are searching in large language models. And if you do that, it can inform what type of content you're putting out on your site. Because in this example, I don't have a good one with Search Console data, but if you do see queries that model large language models types of queries that are related to halter dresses, that gives you a really indication of what type of content to create about halter dresses. Because in the Search Console, you might have an example where you find the query, what are the best brands that sell halter dresses? And then that makes it really easy for you to determine that you should create a listicle for that type of query, because then you cover that query, but then you also give yourself a really good chance of being used as a source in large language models. So if you do all of that, you're going to have a really, really good presence on Google, and you're going to have a really, really good presence in large language models. And like I said before, you're going to create a situation where no matter where people are searching, they are going to find your brand. And that's exactly what you're looking for. You don't want to be 100% reliant on Google. You don't want to be 100% reliant on large language models, just like you don't want to be 100% reliant on Google ads or something like that. You want to make sure you're showing up absolutely everywhere. So I hope you liked this video. If you'd rather have me help you out instead and take care of this entire process for you, I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description where you can book a time to meet with me. And if you got value out of this, please like this video and subscribe for more SEO videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.